Entertainment Soldier here, and I am back to talk about Star Trek Picard, Episode 2. I can't really. I'm not really sure I watched, because I am not watching Star Trek. This episode was boring at some points, interesting in other points, I would say, but they are definitely spitting on the legacy of Star Trek. Most of the stuff in this episode, just. I don't get why they're doing it. Like, what audience are they going for? Star Trek, people who are loyal to Star Trek are not going to like this episode. Normal people are just going to think it's weird. I mean, I'm probably in the middle because I am a Star Trek fan, but I'm not a diehard fan. I don't know everything about the lore. I just don't get this episode. I mean, there was certain stuff you can kind of think is good, but then there's just these stupid scenes, and there's a scene with Picard and somebody which I just did not like. I mean, I will go into spoilers, but I just want to kind of just... This episode... Oh my god. I mean, I'm hoping it gets better because... Well, I'm a Star Trek fan. I don't want Star Trek to be crap. You know, I've already had the disappointment of Star Trek Discovery. Can we please just get good Star Trek again? Not really much I can say about all the other actors, unless I'm going to spoilers. Everybody performed okay, I guess. But there was just cringeworthy scenes, plot that was pretty much, I could tell was going to happen. I didn't even need to. Again, the writers these days seem to just do the straightforward thing. I just don't get why they do that. Star Trek has never really been about, well, boring scenes. It's normally been, there's been a story in one episode, and another episode would go into a different story. They seem to go on this season-long story, and that's not what Star Trek is. You know, Star Trek's an episode by episode, and then the ending will have a continuous story for 2 episodes. I mean, there has been Star Trek seasons where there has been a main plot, like in the Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the Dominion War, but there's been other stories mixed in. You know, putting Star Trek into this kind of, you know, telling a series-wide story is, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like Star Trek to me. I would say if you want to try this episode, try it. If you're a Star Trek fan, you're not going to like it. But I'm not really sure, because this is the first, we've been for the first 2 episodes. There's not really much happened. You know, there's been a lot of spitting on the legacy of Star Trek, and again, it kind of hurts. It really does. But I'm going to go into spoilers now. I'm going to be a lot more clearer. So if you don't want to hear spoilers, leave now. Okay? That's the warning. So the episode starts off with us being on Mars. I don't like any of the ship designs I've seen so far. You know, we were on a shipyard, saw all these, you know, ship designs. Didn't like any of them. They looked so much like not Picard. They looked so much like Discovery. It's like, has there even been 100 few years between them? Because, you know, they're using shuttles that are from Discovery era, when we know the Federation has evolved the technology. So again, I didn't like the scene. So we go down to Mars. We see a bunch of robots in a room, or synthetics. And I don't like the synthetics. I don't like it. Because they feel like slaves. And humanity grew the fuck up, people. It grew up. We don't hold slaves anymore. And having them be like human faces would make people feel like they're slaves. It just didn't make sense. And the way some of the crew was treating these drones, again, that's not Star Trek. We grew the fuck up. You had one of these people saying, oh, you can insult these robots, they don't mind. You have one person in that room that actually gave a shit about the robot's feelings. Starfleet humans grew up. They're not racist, sexist, or money-driven assholes. Okay, they grew up. That's what was great about Star Trek. It said humanity would grow up from being children who swore at each other, who only cared about themselves, whose only passion in life was to make money. These people wanted to better themselves by having a great job and helping humanity and helping other races at the same time. That was what was great about Star Trek. But people who are, writing Picard don't give a shit about that. They'd rather we think about politics, because this shit is all about politics. And it's about one certain fucking political thing in the world right now, because of one certain prick. And we all know who that fucker is. I'm sorry, but, it's Brexit, okay? This shit is about Brexit, and I can't believe why they're doing it. I'm just going to say this right now. I'm British. I've had to deal with Brexit for 3 fucking years. I don't care anymore. I think both sides are stupid as fuck. Remain and leave. They're both stupid. I would like to fucking just not hear about it, but it's so possible in the UK right now. And now I have to watch a fucking show that is literally about fucking Brexit. I am just not in the fucking mood. So, okay, they're treating the robot badly. The robot don't give a shit because he's a robot. You then get a bunch of other scenes. They're then sitting down to have a lunch, talking about replicator crap. The synthetic, gets a little download. He then goes to the computer and turns off the orbital defenses. Now, this is another problem I have. Why are they still using satellites? I mean, why are they not using orbital platforms or anything like we've seen in Star Trek? Yet they're still using a shitload of satellites. Like, why are you doing that? We don't use... I mean, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but do we still use satellites in the Star Trek universe? Did we not grow out of that because we have better technology? I'm sorry, it just looks so fucking bad. And I don't know. I could be wrong, but the satellite thing kind of pissed me off. I thought that's like backwards technology compared to Star Trek. So the robot's pretty much turning off the defenses and turning on and just letting these things attack the platform. All the people try to shout at him. One of the guys runs up to the robot. He snaps his neck. Nobody does anything for a little bit. They're kind of talking to each other. The robot then goes over to grab some laser thing. He shoots all the people. Security guys come in, don't shoot at him. They just walk into his fire. So they're fantastic security. And then you see in the background the Mars is being attacked and blown up and all that shit. The robot then turns the gun to his head and does himself in. And then that's the end of that scene. I don't know. I think it's exciting at some point, but when you see what humanity's like in this scene, it just takes away from the battle, because it's just like they're de-evolving on screen, and it pisses me off. We then go to Picard's little French ranch, where Picard's talking to the Romulans. Turns out these Romulans are Tal Shiar, because they pretty much have to explain to Picard about there's now a secret Tal Shiar group. They even give it a different name. Don't ask me to fucking say it. I don't really remember what they call it. But again, the Tal Shiar has a different name. These people are pretty much worse than the Tal Shiar. Now, I don't get why they're changing the Tal Shiar's name. The Tal Shiar is scary as fuck. If you watch enough Star Trek, you know what the Tal Shiar are. They're the secret police of the fucking Romulans. So why they changed their name, I don't know. Just say they're fucking, remnants of Tal Shiar that, went independent because of what happened in Romulus. Sorry, it's just there was a lot in this episode. Just one scene we're getting up to when Picard talks to an admiral, it pisses me off. So get ready for that rant. So they're talking about Tal Shiar, talking about this secret group. The secret group hates synthetics, pretty much hates everybody else. They're like super racist people, basically. And they've decided, and so Picard says we've got to go back to the girl's apartment to figure out what they were doing there. So they beam away. They beam there. The Tal Shiar woman, you know. Okay, this scene pisses me off because, again, why are they doing this in Star Trek? I don't know. They look around and then she says, cheeky fuckers. Why are we swearing? Why is there swearing in Star Trek? Humanity grew the fuck up. I know she's not human, but why would she know that? Because that cheeky bastard, that's such a British swear word. I don't know if Americans use it, but cheeky bastard, fucker is something we say to each other a lot. And she's bloody Romulan, so why would she even know a swear word? Because in humanity and in the other Star Treks, it's pretty much been shown humanity doesn't swear. Because again, we grew the fuck up. That scene really pissed me off. I didn't really pay attention because I just couldn't believe that when they actually start. They put swearing back in Star Trek. Now, I know people are going to go and say, is this such a little thing? But it's not. This is just a massive slap in the face to Star Trek fans because, again, they think we're children. And they think this is you put a swear word in an episode, it's going to make everybody excited. Ooh, fucking hell, they finally put swearing in Star Trek. They've put that shit in films. And it was always a joke. It was a fucking joke, and now they're being serious about it. Jesus, grow the fuck up, writers of Picard. So they look around the room. Picard finds a computer on a table. She looks at the computer, and they figure out that the two twins are the same. They're like clones of each other, but apparently these Romulans are looking for a certain part or a certain person. So this twin they might have been after might not be the twin they want. I'm not sure. I might have to watch the episode again. Again, I'm sorry if I get this wrong, but the swearing's pissing me off. So we then go to the most boring ass scene in this episode, which is we then go back to the Borg cube where the Romulans are. The Romulan guy is with the robot girl, and it's just so unbloody necessary to see. Can we just get on with it? Again, I'm pissed off, and now I'm having to watch these two lovey fucking dovey bullshit. Can we just get on with the episode? Just get on with it. I know they want to put romance in Star Trek, and it's been there, but they normally do it clever. Again, Star Trek is the sci-fi clever stuff. Star Wars is the, romantic crazy shit. So, it used to be clever, but now we're in Star Trek Picard and it's bullshit. So they're talking to each other, they pretty much, normal romantic shit, teasing each other. She goes on about him being so secretive, and again, he's Romulan, and he's pretty much definitely working for the Tal Shiar. He's obviously fucking secretive. Why? I don't know. The scene was boring, pointless. Could have been taken out, and you would have not missed much. We then go back to Picard on his winery farm. A doctor comes round. Picard asks if he wants some tea. The doctor pretty much says to him, "You might need something stronger." So Picard's dying, people. That's what we got from that scene. Apparently, there's something wrong with his head that he already knows about from previous Star Trek series. Doctors pretty much try to tell Picard, you shouldn't travel. You're pretty much in danger of dying if you travel. And Picard's like, I don't care. I want to see the stars again, basically. I would say that seems pretty okay. There's not really much I can kind of poke through. Actors did the best they could. So that scene ends. Picard then goes to Starfleet, and I don't like the uniforms. I really don't. It's just they've just gone. It's just is this Star Trek just trying to pretend to be their going classic now? Let's go back to the Picard uniforms, you know, with the gold on top and the black on the bottom. And I don't know. It's just Starfleet uniforms have always grown and always changed. You've seen that in Star Trek seasons. You know, in Deep Space Nine, they had the same uniforms as the uniforms in Generations, but then it evolved into the black and grey uniforms, which I think is the best uniform in Star Trek, in my opinion. It looks more militaristic, more, you know, realistic. It doesn't look like somebody has just dressed up in pajamas, because a lot of the Star Trek uniforms look like pajamas if you kind of look at it. So Picard goes to Starfleet, you know, he heads to the front desk, and this guy doesn't know who the fuck Picard is. What the fuck? So you didn't hear about him turning into a Borg. They didn't teach that shit at Starfleet. They didn't teach how he stopped, you know, the hundreds of other things. His first contact, the fucking captain of the Enterprise. They didn't teach this guy that at Starfleet. I'm sorry, that just seemed like, shouldn't this kid have been like, the scene would have been better if the kid had been on his computer. He looks up and he first doesn't realise who he is. He then looks up again, he's like, this is fucking Picard. I've got to straighten the fuck up. I mean, it just seems like the kid didn't give a shit. Again, if that was me, and I'm meeting, like, an historic general, I would I'd stand up straight and pretty much be in awe of the fucking guy. If this is me, and I'm a Starfleet fucking lieutenant, and I'm meeting fucking Picard, that is a fucking oh my god moment. That is like a celebrity in fucking Star Trek. So, that's a boring scene again. So Picard goes up an elevator to meet with an admiral, and this scene is utter bullshit and pisses on Star Trek Legacy. The admiral pretty much, you can tell she doesn't like the fact she has to have a meeting with Picard. Picard's trying to be nice to this woman and says all he needs is a ship to go look for something, and he even mentions the attack. Why is the attack so like nonchalant? Why do they not care about that? It's like there was an explosion on Earth, and Earth is literally, if we've again learnt from previous Star Trek seasons, Earth is literally a fucking haven. It's like nobody gets in trouble, nobody kills anybody. You know, it's heaven on Earth basically in the Star Trek days. So if an explosion happens, shouldn't Starfleet be like, what the fuck is going on? But we find out about that later. But again, how that admiral is not pissed off about this, I don't know. But she's pissed off that Picard has the arrogance to come to her and ask for a ship. She swears at Picard and says, how fucking dare you think that you can come in. She doesn't say it like that, she says something else. But she swears at Picard, pretty much doesn't like the fact that he is, you know, he thinks he can get what he wants. Bitch, he's fucking Picard. Again, if he was to come in there and ask you to sit on your fucking head, you fucking do it, love. He earned that fucking right to tell you to do that. And all he's asking for is a small ship with a small crew. And you can just say, fine, just take a small ass ship and go out there. It's just a little thing. And then she keeps going on about, you know, the interviews, like, how dare you insult Starfleet like that? I mean, for God's sake, are you so butthurt about him having an opinion? This is the Brexit thing, by the way. She's like, more people didn't want us to help the Romulans in Starfleet. More races were considering leaving and shit. It's like, what are you on about? That's not Starfleet. Starfleet would have helped the Romulans, whatever. This whole bullshit about them being enemies is, yes, of course Starfleet would have had reservations, but they still would have helped. This woman's saying that if they had helped the Romulans, a few, you know, Federation planets may have decided to go independent because of that. That makes no sense. And she doesn't even name a race in particular. Never names a race. Just says some random planets would have gone independent and had problems with them saving the Romulans, and the fact Picard's pissing on Starfleet. And it's like, no, he has an opinion, love. If what he's saying hurts you so bad, then maybe it's you, not Picard. She is such an arrogant bitch. I don't know. This just pisses on Starfleet again. Starfleet was the best of humanity and these other races because they cared about people. They helped people. They're not a military force. Okay? But this show seems to think Starfleet has just de-evolved and don't give a shit about anybody and only cares about the problems of a few sectors of the Federation. It's hard to take when you know in your heart, when you've watched enough Star Trek, that the Federation would have done everything they could to help the Romulan Empire. Because if you help the Romulan Empire, then maybe the Romulan Empire won't be a fucking enemy anymore. Like we did, like the Federation did, with the fucking Klingons. When they had a massive fucking accident happen. Kittimer Accords. Do you remember that shit? When the fucking Klingons had a moon blow up. And they were running out of certain things. Did the Federation do what this bitch is fucking saying they did? Did they leave the Klingons to it? Don't fucking risk helping them, because if we help them, there will probably loads more people pissed that the Federation helped the Klingons in that era. Fuck it, fucking Kirk had a problem with it. But he still did his fucking duty, because that is Starfleet. And that, by the way, is Starfleet when it was at its most militarized. And they still helped the Klingons. Yet, 100 years later, the Federation have gone crazy and have decided to stop helping people because they're their enemies. For fuck's sake, would you look at your own canon, Star Trek? Just because the Romulans were an enemy once, the Federation would clearly see the opportunity to help the Romulans would be fantastic for their relations. They might not even be enemies anymore. And you're fucking moaning because a few systems have a problem with it? Grow the fuck up! Which I thought was the point of humanity at this point. This show is bloody stupid right now for me, because it's not Star Trek. This entire scene just fucking is clear what is wrong with these writers. They don't respect the canon, they don't respect the lore, they don't respect anything of the old Star Trek. This is just a political point because they don't agree with one country's politics. And I would like to say this: I was a Remainer, but I accept the result. I don't want to be butthurt for the rest of my life. I hope that Britain does well with Brexit. But having to watch this bitch on the screen is like watching fucking the news in the UK right now. Of Ramonas moaning and fucking complaining, and Leavers just enjoying it. They don't get it. It's like, I don't care. Both sides to me are fucking stupid. But now I gotta watch this in my entertainment. Fuck you, Picard. Just fuck you. I'm sorry, that's just a rant over. We then go back to the Borg cube. Apparently, they're stripping it bare. They're dealing with drones. This woman, the robot woman, bumps into this other woman, Splat chick, cutting her hair. Not cutting her hair. She's trying to get into uniform, and they have a good conversation. Pretty much they're both talking about how cute the Romulan girl that she's obviously banging, and it's pretty fucking obvious. Then it's cute and all that shit. We then got this Romulan on the, up high, talking about, all the rules about going into the Borg cube or deeper into the Borg cube. It looks like they're looking for something in this cube. So they go there. he talks about if something goes green, get the fuck out, and that's it. That scene ends. Oh no, they meet. Then the robot girl and the other woman head over to the Romulan that she's obviously banging, and then they start talking about, what should we do if anything wrong happens. He's like, don't worry about it. The Borg cube, it's because when the Borg cube when the Borg cube gets damaged or something, the Borg abandon it, and to the Borg it's pretty much a graveyard. He talks about that, and so they go in there and they're stripping it bare basically. I think they're looking for weapons or something, but I think they're looking for a Pacific thing. I'm not sure what it's called, but it is a Pacific thing. The scene is we're going to go back to Picard, who's with the two Romulans. He's talking about he wants to go out and find these people. The Romulan woman is like, why are you doing this? You're too old and all that shit. And Picard's like, I need to help her. She got assassinated by Romulan death squads that apparently can run freely around the Federation. But we're going to find out why they can do that in the next scene. The woman's pissed off about it. The Romulan man is just like, listen, love, calm the fuck down. He can do what he wants. He's Picard, basically. And then they both try it. And the Romulan man and woman pretty much accept Picard's going to go back and... he's going to go find a ship and figure out what's going on. I have missed a scene when Picard grabs like this silver box where he has his old communicator. And he puts it on and he looks for and he asks for somebody. I thought that was a good scene. Okay, it was boring, but it felt, Star Trek-y. I don't know. Alright, now we're going to the next stupid scene, which is the obvious scene. They now, instead of a head of security of Earth, it's now a fucking Commodore scene. Let's just say that. So there's now a Commodore of the Federation, not the head of Earth security, which it's obviously been called in the old days, but now they have Commodores. I don't know why. That's a new rank, I think. The Admiral tells the Commodore, Picard's going insane. He's talking ridiculous shit, basically. The Commodore's like, thank you for telling me about this. He's an old man. He's just gone insane. Don't worry about it. And the Admiral doesn't question anything. And this scene is so obvious that this Romulan, this fucking Commodore is a Romulan spy. What in the fuck? You can't, get through a few episodes before you reveal that shit? No, let's just fucking have that scene just pop out. I didn't even need to watch any more to know what was happening, because the writing on this is so bad. You can obviously tell. And as soon as this woman popped up with the pointy ears, people would say, well, you could have thought that was a Vulcan. No. Not with the amount of crap that's been happening in these two episodes so far. The head of security of Earth not being fucking on point. Obviously a Romulan spy. And I'll tell you what, turned out I was right. So the Romulan spy calls in another Romulan spy and pretty much tells her, you gotta fucking sort out Picard, because he's getting too close. Why they don't just kill Picard and just get it over with, I have no idea. He is pretty open. Just send a death squad for him. I don't get why they don't just kill him. But, the Commodore says, no, let's not just kill him. Get your best man on him and just, track him and shit. And that's what she says. And then this woman who is obviously had some work done on her ears. By the way, that's not fucking like she's actually had work done on her ears in reality. She's obviously Romulan again, who's pretty much had her ears filed down. That's all. It gets so stupid. Why are you being so quick with this episode? It's like this episode was 2 episodes in one. They were supposed to reveal the Commodore slowly, but they decided to fuck it and then just say, listen, let's just get on with it. Just tell everybody she's a Romulan spy. From, I'm guessing, this secret Tal Shiar group. Because, I don't know why you just don't call them a Romulan, the Tal Shiar. Why are you being so secretive? Why are you just doing that? Just keep the first name. Don't just create some crappy new name that most Star Wars fans are not going to care about. They're just going to keep calling them the Tal Shiar, which they are. The scene then goes back to the Borg cube, where the same Earth woman projects herself into the room with the Romulan who's been screwing the robot, basically. You know, she's like, we need to find this thing in the Borg cube, hurry the fuck up, basically. The guy takes the piss out of her, like, you know, telling us that she is a Romulan. You know, they're both brother and sister. She takes the mick out of him for sleeping with the robot, I think. And he's, again, it's pretty much she's the older sister treating the younger brother like an idiot. You know, I'm the older brother, I've done that a few times myself. But it just doesn't feel like Star Trek to me. That, anyway, it's a boring scene. They take a little snipes at each other. The scene ends. We then go back to Picard with a taxi. He lands somewhere to meet up with this woman who again swears. I don't know why the swearing is so... Why has humanity just devolved so badly? I don't know. I mean, there was episodes in Star Trek where they even pointed that shit at us, like, the foul language of the old human race is so ridiculous. But now they use it anytime they want. Picard's there to look for a ship and a pilot, and then the episode ends. I probably might have missed a few things, but again, this is my first watch through it. I will watch it again because I don't know. I got to figure out what the fuck what is the motive of this series. This episode is shit. Okay? There's just so much politics in it. There's so much disrespect. The cheeky fucker lines are pissing me off now. Why is there swearing in Star Trek? I know people are going to say you're going too crazy about it, but this is not Star Trek. Star Trek used to be the best of humanity. I used to enjoy watching it. But every time I watch these episodes now, I am ready for politics. And every time they pretty much give me the politics of my world, not the fucking universe. I'm like always asking, like, what the fuck have the Klingons been doing? Because the Klingon Empire still exists. Why has the Klingon Empire not attacked the Romulans? And by the way, how has the Romulan Empire been so destroyed by one planet? They're a fucking empire. But apparently one planet being destroyed is the entire Romulan empire has fallen apart. Even though we've seen in previous movies and episodes, when the Romulans lose their government, they just build another one up straight away. Now losing a planet is a bit different, but I think the empire will still survive. But yeah, we've been staying on Earth too long. We literally just move between Earth and the Borg cube. It's boring. I can tell what's happening. Someone's going to say you've probably read the leaks. I've heard of some of the leaks, okay? I've heard of them. But there was no way that I thought this was all going to happen, some of it. And being able to tell a Romulan spy in an episode where it's just bad writing. I've had enough of that shit. They just pick these idiot writers. I mean, again, all you gotta do is watch the Orville to see real Star Trek. Because that's real Star Trek. This is just some prick's opinion of Brexit to me. And I'm just sick of it. Patrick, I get it. You don't like Brexit. Okay? But you're American now, aren't you? You have an American passport, right? You don't exactly live in the UK anymore. And yet you want to have an opinion about something you don't give a shit about personally. Just the fact that you need a British passport to go around Europe on your own. That's the only reason you give a shit. Sorry, I don't want to talk about politics. I really don't. I fucking hate it. That's why I'm so pissed that I'm watching a Star Trek show about fucking Brexit. I'm fucking sick of hearing about it. If you're American, you don't understand. Because you don't know how long we've had to go through this shit. It's everywhere, man. It's on the TV. It's in the newspapers. It's literally when you go to work and you want to talk about something different, and one of your fucking friends then starts talking about it, and you just want to scream at him, "Shut the fuck up! I don't care anymore." And now I've got to watch it in a series, and God, this episode, for the most part, had interesting bits. The Romulan, spy being in charge of Federation security, that's interesting. If they had let that go a few episodes to then we find out, like 4 episodes in, we find out she's a spy, that would have been interesting. I mean, it's an interesting story, but it was too quick. The worst scene is the Admiral scene, where she disrespects the Federation's legacy. And I can't deal with how bad sci-fi's gotten now. Doctor Who's shitting on its own law, Star Wars is shitting on its own law, and Star Trek. The biggest sci-fi shows and films in history, and it's all dead. Just because some arseholes don't like the way the politics of the world is. Because apparently we're all going fascist, even though... I don't know. I'm done. I'm going to give this episode a 4 out of 5. I mean, a 4 out of 10. There were good acting. Patrick Stewart. He's great. But if you would shut up about Brexit, maybe I could have enjoyed this episode. Maybe if you respected the lore of Star Trek, maybe I could enjoy where this show is going. But I can't. I hope it gets better. I hope we can kind of remove ourselves from the politics and just get like 1 episodes again that have an internal one story that doesn't have to be connected to all the episodes, but I doubt it. But that's it. I'm sorry that my video is pretty depressing and has had politics in it. I don't want to talk about politics. I really don't. I want to avoid anything to do with politics on my channel because I've had enough of it. It's an entertainment world sold. Oh, fucking hell. Like the video if you like it. Give it a dislike if you dislike it. And comment below. Nothing about Brexit. Fucking hell. If anybody comments on this video about Brexit, I'm going to fucking not ignore the shit out of you. No politics on this channel. Of any kind. Any country. Comment below about the episode. I'm sorry. It's just, oh my God. And subscribe if you like my videos. It's Entertainment World Soldier. Bye.